Hi, everyone, and welcome to my I Love Learning podcast. Look at me. I have Brad Hackett with me today. I'm so excited. And of course, I have my shirt on that says Learning is Alive because if you don't know me, I'm Dr. Gina Anderson, and I'm a learning scientist and CEO of Luma Brighter Learning. And I'm passionate that small actions can spark extraordinary change. And so if you want to learn more about my work in learning science, you can visit lumabrighterlearning.com. But this season is all about the power of small and how we explore tiny shifts in our mindset that can change our life, and it can transform us at work, in our relationships, and frankly, in our lives. And so today I'm joined by Brad Hackett. And if you don't know him, you will today because he is a leader in the trucking industry. He has over 15 years, you all, in the space of driver recruitment, retention, safety, operations. But I have learned beyond metrics in recruiting strategy, he brings something even more important to our conversation today, and that is perspective and kindness. From understanding what truck drivers are really looking for from employers to building cultures that are rooted in trust and respect, Brad reminds us that leadership is never about filling seats or just hitting numbers. It's about listening, it's about relationships, and it's about creating environments where people feel valued, listened to, and supported. So, thank you so much, Brad, for being here today. I am so honored and blessed that you could join me. So, why don't you go ahead and share with the audience today a little bit about who you are, what drives you, and what you're passionate about?
Yeah, absolutely, Gina. Thanks for having me. Look forward to the conversation. My name is Brad Hackett. I am the Director of Recruiting and Safety here at Jet Express. We're a high value, high niche carrier based out of Indianapolis and Chicago markets here in the Midwest. So we're a smaller fleet, about 50 trucks, 50 drivers. And my background, I've got 15 years, as you said, in the trucking industry, have the hair loss to prove that. But 15 years broken down, the first 10 years on the operations side of the business. Loved getting to know working from dispatch roles to director of operations roles at various different companies throughout that time. And then the last 5, 6 years now, here in 2026, it's time's flying. It's crazy. But shifted over to the marketing, recruiting, safety, and retention side of the business, and really enjoying that. And
I love
super,
that.
super passionate about truck drivers. They're the backbone of our economy, obviously our industry. And the more and more I dive in this industry, the more great people I get to interact with, and just the more passionate I am about taking care of those drivers at our organizations and advocating for them any way that I can in a positive manner.
I love that. So, see, you all can connect with Brad. He is so full of kindness and goodness. I appreciate that. You know, the season, I really wanted it to be about the power of small because I've seen it, and I've seen it with drivers, and I've seen it just in people in general that small differences can make such a big impact. Maybe do you have an example in your journey and your passion where maybe one small moment might have changed a lot for you?
Yeah, for me, early in my career, I was coming out of college and I had aspirations. I was at FedEx during college getting my degree, was going to be a manager there, had that, and they went on a big hiring freeze, and
Oh,
found myself landing in trucking and never looked back. But I had a great mentor, terminal manager at my first job at Night Transportation there.
ah,
Shout out, Paul. But had somebody come in, not only just you're thrown to the wolves, figuring it out in trucking. I found a lot of people learn that way, and you
mm,
get your badge of honor doing that. But also just being able to have me come under his wing and learn. You're a life coach, you're a
mm,
planner, you're a revenue generator. There's so many different roles that you have to play in trucking,
mm,
not
mm.
only with great administrative support, but I also had some drivers that I'm proud to still be connected with and in touch with today, 15, 16 years later, that taught me the importance of my role and how it fit to their success out there on
Oh.
the road for their pickups, their deliveries, and ultimately for them providing for their good living for their family and getting where they need to be efficiently.
Wow, that is so impactful. And you have drivers that are still connected after 15 years. I appreciate that. I started this podcast 3 years ago because I had drivers reach out to me and tell me that they were struggling. They were feeling lonely. They were feeling stuck, quite frankly. And, for me, learning is the seed of life, and I truly believe that. Is there been something in your life that you've learned that made such a big impact or maybe changed the way you thought about things before?
Yeah, there's been a lot over the years. I think one thing that sticks out, I'm a big learner, want to continue to fine tune my skills and learn more about being a better leader and just
Oh,
providing as much as I can for the team and the folks I interact with. But one thing, Gina, that sticks out, John Maxwell is one of my favorite
okay.
authors. And
Mhm.
I forget which book, I've read so many of them, but it's emphasizing every conversation that you're having that you can
Mhm.
provide value and you can get value out of every interaction. So trying to have that mindset and
Okay.
that perspective, even if it's a very small conversation or somebody you don't talk to a lot, if you approach it with that openness, that listening, and that two-way value street, it can be a much more productive and impactful interaction than if you're just going in it head first.
Yeah, I love that advice. In fact, a lot of times when I'm talking to people, I can tell that they're actually not listening to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like they're thinking about something else, and I can tell instantly because I'm very passionate about being present in the moment. And one thing that you said there that was so meaningful to me, and it's great advice, in fact, is that when you go into a networking situation, a lot of times people think, gosh, I'm not a very good networker. Like, what am I going to say? Or like, what should I do? But like, if you show up and be present, and like you said, like you see yourself as bringing value, not only from providing value, but learning from someone, it can provide a great opportunity to step forward and actually take a step into the room. So you do driver recruitment. Do you, because you have to go, do you network a lot? Like what's your experience in networking and trying to connect with people? Are you like, do you go in and you instantly feel comfortable, or do you find, like me, I'm surprisingly, I'm not comfortable in a lot of those situations.
Yeah, it's not easy, and not everybody is an extrovert. My wife says I can talk to a wall anywhere that we
Oh,
go. I'm always looking to talk with somebody. But flashback. So in the middle of COVID is kind of when I made my shift from operational side to I had the
mm,
great opportunity. Leadership came, large organization here in Indianapolis, and said we've got a big hole in recruiting, driver
mm,
engagement, driver onboarding. We need you to help out. And I
mm-hmm.
knew nothing about that space. I didn't know the systems. I didn't know the contacts.
Wow.
I'd never recruited a driver before or worked with driver recruiters directly. All my
Mm,
experience had been like on the day-to-day operations, picking up, delivering loads, getting drivers where they need to be. So I had some great mentors in that space as well, but I really just took the learning hat and just put it on. And I just wanted to soak up as much knowledge,
wow.
get as contacted as I possibly could. And I've met some amazing people along the way that have introduced me to other people that have introduced me to other people, and just so many great opportunities to network and engage and pick each other's brains. And one
Mm,
thing I've really been open on is that there shouldn't be any secret sauce
mm.
that you're not willing to share with others, because there's so much market share out there for all of us trucking companies to win, in my opinion. And if we're sharing opportunities with a peer network of, hey, what's working for you? Hey, this is working for me, and sharing
Mhm.
notes on that, then we can both drive each other forward.
I love that. What a beautiful, beautiful statement. Community is everything and connection is everything. And learning is forever. And so I can really connect with that statement because we should help each other. Life's too short. And, there is no secret sauce. I mean, I share the science of learning to anyone. I go out and I share it because I want people to live their best life, and one of the things that I'm really passionate talking about is this fact that when a driver would say, like you saw over the weekend, somebody tagged me personally on social media, and you were on it, and there was a driver who was struggling and didn't think they could go on, and this is real. This isn't like marketing. This is people's lives. And so, what would you say if that driver is out there or anybody is out there that feels stuck today, that has lost their passion for learning and moving forward, what advice would you give to that person so they could hear you to take the next step forward?
Yeah, it's such a tough and heart wrenching situation there, and unfortunately, it's not just one. There's so many out there of folks that are struggling, especially out there on the road with the difficulties that, especially the OTR lifestyle that a driver faces, being away from their friends and family for long periods of time and dealing with the challenges on the road and also personal challenges that they're not able to always be there. So, my advice would be to get some friends and reach out. If you don't have any, I know that can be a really challenging situation, but there's so many great communities that I've found, even online. If you're on social media, there's so many niche communities, whether you're a
Mhm.
flatbed driver or you're over the road and you're
Mhm.
specialized in another area, or if you like fishing, there's fishing specific driver groups out there that
I
just
love that.
reach out, find something that you can connect with, and try to. There's so many people out there that really do care, and all of us
Mm.
at the end of the day, Gina, want to be seen, heard, and feel like that we're valued. And if
Mhm.
you're not getting that, then it may not be the right fit, or you may just need to expand to find that. But that's where
Mhm.
the value comes in on being seen and heard, and you can see your impact on the work that you're doing, and that just fuels the energy for everything else in life, in my opinion.
I love that. You're so beautiful. That's such a great statement. You don't think about that. Look, if you don't feel like you're being heard, find a different pathway. Look for opportunities. I love that. I was at the national tank event a few weeks ago, and there was an individual who actually he was in a wheelchair. He lost his ability to move and walk through war, and he's great. He's very grateful. And what he did is he started a fishing group of people who can't walk, who have some um, mobility challenges, and they go fishing together, and it's like
That's
this group
awesome.
of folks that like go out fishing, and they are in wheelchairs or crutch, or whatever their situation is, and they show up for each other, because that is what it means. We need to be seen and seen valid. Thank you, Alyssa. You're right, it is so important to feel valued, because everyone can make a difference. I gave away hearts at the North Carolina trucking event, where on the hearts they were imperfect, and it said, "Imperfection is perfection in learning." Because no matter what your imperfection is, nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect for learning. Nobody is perfect in life. We all make mistakes, and everyone can make a difference. I had last week, I don't know if you watched my show, Brad, but I had on my episode was Lindsay Markley, and she wanted me to ask you this question. She actually, because she knew you were in recruiting, she said, "How do you specifically support women in this industry? Because there's such a big movement for women not being in trucking. How do you think that how do you support women with the recruiting aspect?" She was really interested in that. She was quick to her question though too, Brad.
There
She
you
was
go.
super quick.
I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I'm all about it. So, first and foremost, we're a smaller team at Jet, and some of our best drivers in the entire organization are
Mm.
female. They're the safest out there. They're the most detail oriented. They care about their teammates, and will be the first one to dive in if somebody's struggling. But also, in my career on the administrative side of the business as well, one of my close friends in the industry was a manager level in the trucking industry, and I advocated for her to get that manager to director spot. And
Mm.
there was sadly a lot of resistance to that at the time with
Mm.
the organization I was at. And I felt passionate about it. I was praying about it, and I really just went to bat and advocated, and it was a home run in all regards.
Wow. Yes.
Thriving in her career and doing amazing. And it's just I feel like the more that we can have each other's back and promote the right person at the right job for the right opportunity, we're all going to win.
Yes. I love that. It should be about the right person. It's so great. I'm so happy about that. And speaking of the right person, I was at, like I said, a few weeks ago, the National Tank Truck Safety Week, and I got to meet all the drivers who are champion finalists. And in fact, Bruce, who was the champion, had been on this podcast before. And next week, I have Jared also Brook, who is from SWTO, and I met him. And he's coming on. He's going to be a driver on my podcast next week. What do you think we should ask him? What should we ask him?
So, Bruce, who's going to be the next guest?
It's going to be Jared. Yeah, so Jared also Brook. So he was the SWTO National Tank Truck Safety Champion finalist. He was a finalist, and oh my gosh, wait till you meet him. He is so incredible.
That's amazing. I've been to some of those shows, how technical they can be with those giant machines that weigh. It's incredible. But my question would be, what is something in the last couple of years that you've changed your mind about that I would love to hear?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know how I would answer that. I'd have to think about that one for a while. All right, Jared, if you're listening, you can prep yourself for next week. I love that. All right. So what do you think? What should we leave ourselves with today? What small words of advice would you have for us to put in our pocket and take with us next week as we move throughout the rest of this month? And I can't believe it's already May.
It's crazy. I'm in Indianapolis. This is our favorite month of the year for race time in the summer.
Oh, is the Indianapolis 500? It's on Memorial Day?
Yeah, day before Memorial Day.
Oh, that's what the picture is. Is that the race?
Yeah, I took the picture. This is, from my seats where we're at. They have an awesome turnover every year. So
that's amazing. Are you going to go to the race this year?
Yeah, it's my favorite day of the year.
I love that. Oh, this is great. All right. So I'm so glad you're on my May podcast then.
There you go. To answer your question, though, I would say find ways to aggressively put these things down and eliminate distractions. You have to be diligent about it because we get the dings and all of that all day, every day. And find ways to be like this and be incredibly engaged in your interactions and get out of the office and go talk to people, whether that be a proactive phone call or going out and talking with your drivers out there. The more interactions that we can have that are just natural conversations and engaged, the more you're going to find out, the better the rapport you're going to build with your team. And that would be my challenge.
I love that. Let's be connected this week. Put it in your pocket. Don't order Starbucks through the app. Go into the store and order your coffee and tell the person that you're grateful for them, because what would we do without truck drivers? They delivered all the stuff and the workers who were showing up to work. Oh my goodness, Brad, thank you so much. How can people connect with you if they want to connect with you and learn more and just be connected to all your goodness?
Yeah, I'm all over LinkedIn. Look up there, Brad Hackett with Jet Express. I'd love to connect. Always looking to build out my network and bring more positivity together for our great trucking industry.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brad, for joining me this week. Until next week, you all be kind, be safe, and, put it in your pocket. Be present. Until then, we'll see you. Bye.